Hi everybody, Mrs. Tavar here, and I told you on a previous video that I ordered some really cool shirts since we've been studying a lot about people this year, learning research skills. So think for a second before I tell you who this is, see if you recognize who this is. Did anybody say it's Malala Yousafzai? That's what it is. Crusader for Girls in Education, of course. She's the one that helped change the rules in Pakistan that girls weren't at one time allowed to go to school. And then she did get that changed through peaceful protest. So here is our Bitmoji classroom. I put on here the digital resources we have. Always start with resources that we know are reliable, they have authority on the subject, and we will talk about how to evaluate different types of materials and resources you can use. But I will tell you that if you open this resource that you have, that if you use these to do any research for any of your classes, they're going to be reliable sources on these things, especially Pebble Go Next, which has really come a long way. World Book we've used a lot. Pebble Go is probably for younger kids, but I like to start there sometimes just to get a feel for what I'm reading about. TrueFlix are some good, reliable sources, and then we have other things on here that you use, not necessarily sources. So that is on our Bitmoji classroom. And you see me over here, and we have a light bulb. We talked about what a light bulb means. It means that somebody has an idea. And I put a little poster here. It says, don't be a copycat, think for yourself. Of course, here's me as a robber, and I'm gonna steal Mrs. Tuvaro's idea. Now that is not very ethical behavior. And I put, my son, my oldest child, goes to BMI. And I put this on here because they are very strict when it comes to plagiarism. And students actually get drummed out, kicked out of school if they get caught plagiarizing. And so I linked it here to the honor code, cadet honor code. Ethical or code of conduct applying to military cadets studying at military academies. And it says here, a cadet will not lie, cheat, steal, nor tolerate those who do. And so BMI is very strict, but all colleges are. And if you plagiarize, a variety of things can happen at any college you're at, or in middle school and high school, and even starting in 4th and 5th grade. Now, of course, in 4th and 5th grade, if you plagiarize, you might get a 0, you might get, a lunch detention or a phone call to mom. But as you get older, the consequences get more severe, including possibly kicked out of your college. So I have a lot of words on here, right? Your learning intentions are, I will learn and practice ethical behavior. So we're going to be talking about ethical behavior. I will cite my sources. Now we started to do this already this morning period. Cite your sources. Now some people will call it a bibliography. Some people call a citation page. And basically what you have done so far is if you're using a book, you write down the title, the author, and the copyright date of the book, are 3 main pieces of information, and the publisher, 4 main pieces of information. Now, as you get older, you're going to learn there's a very technical way to write it on a piece of paper. But for 4th and 5th grade, right now, I just want you to write down the 3 or 4 key pieces of information. So for a book or a magazine, it would be the title, the author, the copyright date, or the date it was written. And for a website, you write the name of the website, you write the article, you write the date you access it, because on the World Wide Web, things can be changed daily. So what you look at today might not be what you see tomorrow. So you create a citation page. You create a citation page for citing your sources, which helps with avoiding plagiarism. So you're going to avoid plagiarism. We'll talk about those words. I will learn the difference between the words copyright and plagiarism and how the two relate to one another. So I pulled up the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, and I'm first going to look up copyright. Three entries, it says, copyright. The exclusive legal right to reproduce, publish, sell, or distribute the matter and form of something, such as literary, musical, or artistic work. So the example here is his family still holds the copyright to the song, to his songs. So anytime you hear music on the radio, you cannot just put that in your presentation for a report. That is stealing somebody else's work. Now, there are cases where you can pay the people to use their song, but that person owns the copyright to it. So we may not just take somebody's song and add it into our presentation. So in a book, I've shown you that the copyright date, when you open up a book and look at the back of the title page called the verso, and you look at that very, very tiny writing, there's a little C with a circle, and it says the year it was copyrighted, means the year it was published. So lots of things fall into copyright rules, even things you create. If you create a piece of artwork or a song, people cannot use it without your permission. You own the rights to it. One thing that is not copyrighted, which I always found interesting, are titles. A title is not copyrighted. Anybody can use a title. And that's why sometimes you see books with the same title or songs with the same title. So copyright is giving the rights to the person who made it. That's what copyright is. And it means you cannot take it without permission. The other word is plagiarism, and people often confuse the two words. So the second word is plagiarism right here. I'm going to copy it, put it into our dictionary as well. I'll have Control V there. Plagiarism in the dictionary. And the definition of plagiarism, oh, I do not like that definition. An act or instance of plagiarizing, something plagiarized. Other words, let's see what comes up. The kidnapping roots of plagiarism. Let's see, example. The student has been accused of plagiarism. So I don't like when definitions use the same word. I don't feel like it gives us a good understanding. So let me explain it. The student has been accused of plagiarism. That means somebody is saying, accusing them of stealing somebody else's work and using it for their own. So if you do a book report or a research project and you write down thoughts or complete sentences or write it verbatim, I love that word verbatim, word for word, you're plagiarizing somebody else's copyrighted work. See how the two words together work together? Copyright is somebody owns that piece of work. They have the rights to it. And then somebody else used it without permission or didn't put it in their own words or didn't cite their source. So throughout this week, the next few lessons, we're going to be working on copyright and plagiarism and practicing putting things in our own words, not verbatim. I decided to look up in the Google dictionary another definition of plagiarism. I just was not a fan of that last definition. I don't feel like it helped me understand the definition. So this one says, the practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as their own. That's a much better definition. The practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as their own. That's plagiarism. So taking somebody else's copyrighted work or ideas and taking credit for them. So remember over here in my little drawing here, this little bit emoji is trying to steal Mrs. Tufaro's idea here and saying it's hers. Copyright. Think for yourself. So let's go back. I will learn the difference between the words copyright and plagiarism and how the two relate to one another. So copyright is I own this idea. This person stole my idea and plagiarized my idea or took my words as their own. And one way, if you look back at the definition here, passing them off as their own. So if one way to avoid plagiarism is to cite your source. Say, I got my information, I got my idea from this book or this person or this website. So that's why we need to start citing our sources to have ethical behavior, because if you're unethical and you steal somebody's idea or work, you can have consequence. And like I told you at VMI, the consequence is they don't tolerate those who, what does the honor code say exactly? A cadet will not lie, cheat, steal, or tolerate those who do. So underneath, I created some graphic organizers that we'll use to help avoid plagiarism. You can come up with any kind of graphic organizer you want. I created two just to use. This one says research notes, and first thing one to do to avoid plagiarism is a citation. Cite your source. Where did you find this information? You're going to fill in on this note paper. Where did you find it? So the title or the author or the date, the copyright date, or the date published, or the source you used. Maybe it wasn't a book, maybe it was World Book. Okay. While you're reading, write down the keywords or facts. Bullet point the who, what, when, where, why. Do not copy full sentences. You need to write from the beginning of your research. Right from the beginning of your research, do not copy full sentences. When we copy full sentences, that sentence sticks in our head. And then when we go to write our paper or do our report, even if it's orally, you tend to say the exact same words, stealing somebody's work, which is plagiarism, stealing somebody's copyrighted work. So right from the beginning, bullet point just the key ideas. Write down who, what, when, where, why. Do not copy full sentences. So I created a few of these in a row, as you see on the slide on the left-hand side, just so you had multiple pages. If you used two sources, one book and one website, you make two of these so you don't confuse where you found your information. I also created this one as an option that you can do on your paper. Instead of making little squares or circles, quick notes. Write down the who, what, when, where, why, key points, words only, do not copy verbatim. Now, I will have to actually take this, let's see if I can do this quickly, and put this on our paper too. That way, you cite your source. I'll make that a little nicer for you to use. You always want to, no matter what kind of organizer you're using, cite your source. So I will work on making that nice on the paper for you. So back up here, now I'm going to go to my source. I opened up Epic Books for Kids. Remember, it is free right now. You can create an account at your own house. And I love this series called Brands We Know. I use this in the classroom, teaching this all the time. There's a whole series of books that talk about the brands and how they came about. So let's see, which one am I interested in today? I love Amazon. Amazon fascinates me, this company. So I'm going to open up Amazon. I'm first going to look at, looks like I was at the back of the book. I think I opened this one the other day. Let's see if I can. get to the beginning. Okay, here you go. Explore the series. Brands we know, Amazon. So I need to write down the title of the book. So on my paper here, I'm going to write Brands we know, and this is Amazon. So it's a big title. Okay, now I'm going to look up who the author is. Let's see. The author, does it say on that page? Ooh, right here, Brands We Know by Sarah Green. So I'm going to write down the author's name. Copyright date. Let's see if we can find that on the book. Let's see. I don't know why I can't get to the title page. See if in the back of the book. Sometimes the title page is in the back of the book. Oh no, look how tiny that writing is. I bet it's in there. I'm going to pause the video and get my glasses. I look through this book and I'm very sad to say they did not put the publisher information, the back of the title page. So this is the title page here. And usually at the bottom of the title page, it says the publisher. I can guess it's by Pilot Publishing, but it doesn't say at the bottom, nor does it give me the verso. So I know I have this in my school library, and I know I can also look it up on Amazon itself and see more information. So I'm a little disappointed on that actually. So I don't have that information currently to write down on our paper, the copyright date. The source, well, in this case, it's a book, right? So we're using a book. So we're looking for who, what, when, where, why. And we want to write down key ideas and bullet points. So let's go back. What is Amazon? So the chapter title, the title of the chapter is What is Amazon? If you've never heard of this company, we want to know what it is first. So a lot of times I will tell you in this series, this first paragraph, they use a hook, something to grab our attention. And you probably have started to learn about writing hooks in your own writing. You might start with a quote or an interesting fact to start off just to get your reader interested. All of these books in this series start with a hook. Not a lot of good quality information about the company, just a little overview, something to get us interested. But we are going to look for the who, what, when, where, why. Busy schedules often leave little time for shopping. Amazon can help. One afternoon, a family browses the company's website. They choose backpacks, notebooks, and other school supplies. Someone needs soccer cleats. Amazon sells those too. With a click of the button, the order is sent. In just a few days, the items arrive at their door. Amazon saved the family a lot of time. Amazon.com Inc. is one of the world's largest shopping websites. Well, we just found out what Amazon is. It's a place to go shopping on the World Wide Web. So I can write that down in my own words. So I'm going to write that in there. And a place to shop on the internet. Okay, so it's overall of what they do. I did not copy down verbatim word for word. I copied down the main idea. Most people call it Amazon. It's a company, its company headquarters is in Seattle, Washington. Oh, so now we found out where. Now, I do not want to copy that whole sentence down. I'm just going to write down where, the actual place. I can put this in its own little box. So it said Seattle, So I'm going to make this smaller so maybe I'll have more room on my paper. Seattle, Washington. Make this one smaller too. So far we have what they do and where their main headquarters is located. I'm only writing down the key ideas. I'm not copying full sentences, so I avoid plagiarism. Amazon sells a wide range of products. It's often called the everything store. The company's logo is recognized around the world. It shows an arrow that stretches from the first A to the Z in the shape of a smile. Today, Amazon is one of the most successful internet businesses in the world. The company is worth more than $400 billion. All right, so it did mention what they sell, and they basically sell everything. So I'm going to add it to this one and just kind of bullet point again. Sells everything. I kind of get a good idea from that when I go to write my paper. And looking at every page for our research really helps us. So they have more than 300,000 employees, more than 45,000 robot workers in the Amazon fulfillment center. Those are interesting facts. Nearly 136 billion in sales in 2016. Around 300 million Amazon users. More than 250 Amazon dash buttons available. I do not know what that means, dash buttons. So I'm going to write down this interesting fact. Over 300,000 employees. That's a big number of people employed. So I have no idea how that turned. Oh, I turned it side. Oh, I turned that one sideways. I guess I can't. Okay, over 300,000 employees. Again, writing down main ideas, not copying sentences verbatim. So on your paper, I wouldn't make the boxes or circles until you start working. Or if you choose to use the bullet point idea, is every bullet point is a new idea, and do not copy the whole sentence down. Do not copy verbatim. Only copy key points and words. Who, what, when, where, why. So not complete sentences during your research phase, right? Only when you're done writing and you go to write your paper. Let's see what else we can learn. Jeff Bezos, right? This is a who, right? Jeff Bezos founded Amazon.com in 1994. From a young age, Jeff enjoyed discovering how things worked. As a toddler, he tried to take apart his crib. When he was older, Jeff worked on science projects in his family garage. He spent summers working on his grandfather's ranch. So who invented would be very important, and when they invented. Going back, so remember we're looking for who, what, when, where, why. So we have Jeff, I want to look at the spelling of his name, Bezos, and the year. So you see how I did not copy full sentences? And after I use multiple sources, right now this is a book, after I use multiple sources and put my information together, I will end up putting it in my own words. But if I copied a complete sentence down, more than likely I would end up plagiarizing somebody else's work. Sarah Green's work, actually, that's who wrote this book. I'd be copying her words, stealing her words. Jeff worked hard in high school, too. He excelled in math and science. He also became interested in computers. After graduating, Jeff attended Princeton University. There he studied computer science and electrical engineering. Jeff graduated high honors. In 1986, he soon moved to New York City for work. At age 26, Jeff became the president of an investment company called D.E. Shaw. 2 years later, he was the company's youngest senior vice president. A new idea, a new chapter heading, giving us a clue of what's going to happen. So he obviously came up with something new after the last paragraph saying he worked at his investment company called D.E. Shaw. Few people used the internet in the early 1990s. Even fewer businesses sold items online. Jeff saw a great opportunity. He left his job to start an internet company. After considering several options, Jeff decided to sell books. They were easy to ship and in high demand. In 1994, Jeff moved to Washington to start the online bookstore. He named the company Amazon.com. Amazon offered 1 million book titles. Sales started on July 16th, 1995. Wow, I did not know that. So Amazon in the beginning only sold one item. Now we all go to Amazon now and order all sorts of different things. I'm going to write that down. That is a very interesting fact. So I'm going to put things just briefly down. Let me see what I can write. At first, maybe, Amazon only sold books. Okay, should I write anything else? Was there anything else? Let's see. It said when. They were easy to ship in high demand in 1994. We already had the date written down. We already knew when he started the company. All right, Amazon was popular right away. In its first week, the company took 12,000 orders. In its first month, Amazon filled orders from 45 countries and all 50 states. After only 2 years, Amazon became the first internet store to have 1 million customers. Wow, I'm not sure I can read this small print. If not Amazon, Amazon was named after the Amazon River in South America. Other names in the running were Cadabre, I think that says awake, and browse. Interesting. I'm going to write that it was named after the Amazon River. That might be an interesting fact. I'll put that over here too. Named after the Amazon. All right, very cool. I have more room now. Let's go to the next page. Oh, look at that. Earth's biggest bookstore. The Everything Store, Amazon Books. Amazon Bookstore in Seattle, Washington. Here we go. Amazon had a strong start but struggled to make a profit. Now, I don't know if you know what this word profit means. It means businesses cost money to run, right? They have to hire their employees. They have to have a location where they house, in this case, the books. They have to be able to pay for the shipment of the books. So after people purchase at whatever price it says, are they going to make any money left over? Or are they going to be negative money? Many business leaders doubted the company would last, but Jeff stayed patient. He believed success would come. His goals for Amazon went beyond the books. He wanted the company to sell almost everything. Amazon began selling video games, DVDs, and CDs in 1998. It later added computer software, toys, tools, and other items. Shoppers around the world enjoyed the ease of shopping online. By the end of 2004, Amazon sales had reached nearly $7 billion. Oh my gosh. So we can add more what's in the year 1998. So, okay, so in the beginning, I'm going to change this a little bit now that we know more. Next to the 1994, I'm just going to write books only. And then 1998 was it? Let me go back. Yep, 1998. They started to sell added books, CDs, what else? Video games, I think it was. Video games, okay. Video game. Again, you see, I am not copying verbatim. I'm not copying complete sentences down. I'm copying only key ideas, answering who, what, when, where, why. Brick and mortar. I don't know if you know that expression, but brick and mortar means the actual location in its expression because not every building is built with bricks and the mortar is in between the bricks. But that just means the actual building where things are sold, brick and mortar. But Amazon did not stop there. In 2016, the company launched its own food brand. Wickedly Prime offers many food and drink choices. Customers love the brand's teas, soup, and healthy snacks. Shoppers can use Amazon to quickly get groceries and more. I did not know that. I actually have never ordered food necessarily. And this might have changed since this book was published. 1 million titles, constantly low prices. That was their tagline. So companies often have a logo, which in this case, Amazon, A to Z, everything from A to Z, and they also can have taglines or slogans. 1 million titles, constantly low prices. Can you think of another company that maybe has a slogan? I'm thinking of a hard one which you may not know. Have it your way. Anybody know what that is? It's Burger King. Have it your way. Is their tagline or slogan. Today, more than 180 million people browse Amazon each month. Customers choose from millions of new and used items. They even get product suggestions based on what they have bought in the past. When orders are placed, fulfillment centers workers get them ready. They fetch, package, and mail the products. There are dozens of these centers around the world. Some centers even have robot workers. So this fulfillment center says Petersburg, England. So they have expanded out of Washington at places all over the world, including England. Let's see what we can add to our familiar. What should we write? Oh, that's a good one. All right, so 180 million people buy new and used products all over the world. Did I get that? Yeah. And I could say fulfillment centers are all over the world, including England. I'm going to add that too. I'm going to bullet point that again. I think I'm going to bullet point this so I don't get confused. Let's see. There's bullet points. That way I know those are different ideas. And again, putting them in my own words. I'm going to pause there. What I did was I paused the video and I continued to look up the notes, taking notes on my research paper here. I also cleaned up the citation page. I did look up the year it was copyrighted. That's the year it was published, which was 2018. And some of the notes I added were over to the right. 2005, Amazon Prime, which was free music, shipping, videos. In 2014, Echo and Alexa, and I have one of those so I can explain what that is when I write my paper. 2014, a Fire Stick. I also own that, so I'm able to talk about it in my paper. Amazon Smile, it's a way for you to pick a donation, like Cold Harbor has a donation, and when you order things, you can have a percentage of your sales go to Cold Harbor. And in 2013, books were donated, so they started to give back to schools. So I finished up my notes. At this point, I have to determine what kind of product I need to produce and do I have enough information? I will tell you by fourth and fifth grade, you should be using at least two sources. So today we took notes using one source, brands we know, Amazon. Tomorrow we're going to use World Book, another reliable source, a database that we know is reliable. It's a paid database, and take more notes before we create our product. But you could stop here and write your paragraph or do your presentation using one source that you bullet pointed the key ideas, the who, what, when, where, and why. To avoid plagiarism, you cited your source and you did not copy verbatim. See you tomorrow.